Hi guys, I'm Guns with 3 Guns Down as always, and today we're going to talk about Rainbow Six Siege, and why it could be the most transformative FPS the industry has seen in the last 3 to 4 years. But unfortunately, it's held back by some of the most inexcusable problems, especially after having an alpha, a closed beta, and an open one. The first things I'll talk about are the massively positive things to this game, because the negatives are just as massive, and they're a little bit overwhelming when compared to the positives. First off, this is probably one of the best FPSs I've played in the last couple of years. I've played the Battlefields, the Call of Duties, the Halos on their yearly cycles, and have been equally disappointed every single year when I get the exact same thing. They play it safe, and it gets boring very quickly. But for some reason, we keep buying this boring repetitive dribble that continues the process of making the FPS market ever more stale by the minute. Siege is a game that really does break the mold of the general FPS combat arena shooters, if you will, in ways you may not instantly appreciate. A lot of people compare this game to Counter-Strike Go for the simple reason that it involves single-life round-based gameplay. There's often a bomb involved, and it's an FPS. That's literally where the similarities between CSGO and Siege end completely. Siege gives an almost complete destruction of environments on a scale Battlefield wish it could replicate. You want to make a hole in the wall? Place a breach charge there, click a button, and you have a new entrance. Want to knock out the ceiling? Put a nitro charge, click the detonator, and suddenly you can see up to the next floor. Have a high-powered rifle, you'll be able to shoot and penetrate nearly every single object in the room. Kill somebody on the receiving end. This is what gives Siege its flavor that no other FPS has. This makes every match you play go a little bit different directions, and you feel as if there's very little repetition here. On top of that, they have operators. Each operator has a unique ability that allows you to gain easier entrance into securing the objective, or it makes it harder for the opposing team to get to the objective you're trying to defend. Each operator also has a counter on the opposing team that, if used correctly, the other operator's ability becomes much less useful, and I've yet to see this be overpowered or unbalanced in a situation. Literally everybody has a counter, and some operators are very strong against others. This constant change of team compositions to be more aggressive or defensive constantly makes the game feel fresh and new. It's almost like a MOBA in an FPS tradition. Some people have complained about this game not having a single-player campaign, and I would rather it did not have one or ever have one for the reason it would take away from their progression on the multiplayer. Some people complain that $60 is too high for a multiplayer-only game, but the game has 11 maps at launch, and all maps moving forward will be free. They plan to round out about 20 maps towards the end of 2016, so you kind of have to include that into the $60 price tag. While they aren't there now, they will be later on, and they'll be free. If you prefer single-player games, this game's obviously not for you, and I've heard a lot of people complain about that. It's very obvious what this game is, it doesn't try to hide it. If you can't read descriptions, it's your own fault for buying something you aren't going to enjoy. Please read descriptions here, people. The game is not the best looking game of the year, that's pretty obvious. I think that's going to go to Battlefront for their photorealism, but it runs extremely well, and considering it has a very heavily based physics engine, which tends to be some of the most resource heavy parts of a game, it's pretty amazing that it runs as well as it does, and it runs very well. I get 70 to 100 FPS depending on what map we're on and what's currently going on and how many things are blowing up, and I'm running it nearly maxed out with a few things turned off here just for my personal preferences at 1080p. Because of that, you really can't knock it for not being the best looking game on the market, and I'm sorry, I'm getting really sick lately of people beating games to death because it's not the best looking thing. They did this with Fallout 4, they're doing it with Siege, they're comparing it to games that are solely made for eye candy. I'm sorry, I would rather have good gameplay over eye candy. Games like Battlefront with their photorealism are going to look great because that's where all the time and investment went. Star Wars Battlefront lacks a huge amount in gameplay though, and longevity because of this. Personally, I'd rather have the long-term gameplay and genuine fun as opposed to the eye candy. So, where does this game go wrong? Sounds like it's pretty great. Well, if it didn't have to rely on Ubisoft servers and a Uplay party system, it would probably be the best game this year. Probably my game of the year, honestly. In the 40 hours that I've spent playing this game, I would say probably 5 have been in a matchmaking system, trying to get paired with my friends and trying to get into ranked matches or even casual matches. That's not an exaggeration. If anything, that's a safe, low bet. I'm betting it's actually closer to 10 hours. In the 4 days I've played this game, you will spend an average of at least an hour a day trying to get your friends into a party and then trying to get that 5-man team into a game together. It often splits you apart, puts you in separate parties or with entirely different players all together. Or sometimes it doesn't even queue other players, they're left in the menu while other people are in a game. I don't understand how this party system is so dysfunctional. And more often than not, the frustration of not being able to get into matchmaking often leads to me quitting the game for the evening and ending my stream out of pure frustration. Last night, we tried to get into a match together for nearly an hour, and we couldn't do it. This is what you're watching now, sped up at a very high rate. We're trying to get into a game this entire time, and we can't. It was 40 some minutes before I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go do something else. I cannot stand this right now. I'm wasting my time. People don't seem to have these matchmaking and party issues on console side of things, which is great for consoles. If you're going to get this game, I wholeheartedly recommend that you get it on a PS4 or an Xbox One. And you'll never hear me say that again unless there are issues on the PC side that absolutely ruin the experience or make the game unplayable. And this does. Oh, this does. This is just a start. It's relying on Ubisoft's PC market and their solution for their games, Uplay. And oh, I bet you have heard horror stories of Uplay and just how terrible Uplay can be, but you have not experienced the pain that this third-party software has given me. It is utter frustration. Like I can't put it into words. I cannot put it into words how upset this I can't. It's terrible. And the fact that Ubisoft games have to rely on Uplay and use Ubisoft servers have created a crutch that just cannot support a lot of the fantastic work that some of Ubisoft studios do, and it literally holds their games back and slowly kills them. This has forced the issue of these extreme matchmaking issues that all PC players seem to be experiencing right now. If you go to Ubisoft forums, they are purely toxic with PC players that are absolutely enraged, and it is completely understandable. We have bought a $60 game that does not function because of your own publisher's software support. That is absolutely inexcusable. I don't know why you've kept Uplay around for so long, why you still support it, why you haven't redone it internally to make it better, to actually support your games and make people want to use it. Origin got their shit together. Origin's at least somewhat palpable. Steam, in my opinion, is still by far the best, but I can stand using Origin now. It doesn't bother me that much. Uplay is a fucking nightmare. It's disgusting. This game is an online-only multiplayer game, and the online-only multiplayer component of this game does not function properly 50% of the time. And that's just unexcusable. If you're making an online-only game with a matchmaking system, one thing that needs to work flawlessly at launch is your server system and your party system. And if it doesn't, and you think other things take priority in the development of this game, and I will stand in front of any Ubisoft employee and say this to their face, you are mentally deficient and you do not need to be polluting the industry as this being acceptable at launch. I get so upset with this game because I enjoy this game a ridiculous amount. When I'm actually playing this game with my friends in a party together, when we're doing ranked or even casual, the amount of fun I have with this game is just insane when it's functioning properly. And that's what makes me so upset, is I see this gem here that could be like one of the best things ever in the longest time, but so many crutches that you have because of your publisher, because of Uplay on the PC market, just kill it entirely. They outright kill it and make this game an absolute no on the purchase list. I don't understand why you would do this to your game. I don't understand how these issues can persist after an alpha, a closed beta, and an open beta for stress testing. Maybe, and this is just a thought, maybe it's because this game was rushed out way too fast. The first time we ever saw this game was all the way back in E3 of 2014, and at that time it was the first showing of what they had repurposed Rainbow Six Patriots into. While the trailer they showed us was nice and had some interesting gameplay, the alpha... oh, that alpha. That alpha was barely playable, and I feel like it was purely cobbled together and rushed to show that the game had marketing promise and should be funded because it would sell well. And yeah, a lot of people liked the game, and the game had a good general response from a trailer. That alpha. I've played some alphas. I ain't never played an alpha that was that bad. I mean, that was almost like, well, we just actually started this game and it's just in a barely playable state now, so here we're gonna give it an alpha. That was bad. And it makes sense. How much money and how many years had they already spent on Patriots? How much more time and money do you think Ubisoft was going to give them to get out a game? I guarantee you the answer is not a lot, and not for a very long time. And this shows in some of the most horrendous ways in the game. I'm now going to talk about the gameplay issues that this game has, because the server issues, that's just the larger overhead that makes this game unplayable. These issues are the issues you'll experience while you're playing the game that will annoy the living piss out of you. First off, players' feet, guns, and arms, sometimes their entire bodies, clip through walls, and it's extremely noticeable to enemy players. Getting solid cover to hide from other players and their bullets is key to the multiplayer here, and you have a clipping issue that exposes it and sometimes makes this entire part of the game and this gameplay completely useless in a player experience. The hit detection. It's shaky at the best of times. Sometimes you get an unexpected headshot while aiming at their feet, and other times you couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a snow shovel, okay? The repelling system sometimes breaks collision surfaces and lets you slip through the entire map and lets you see every single enemy's position, completely screwing over the enemy team. And if you're on the receiving end of this, it sucks. It's not fun. It's terrible. Sometimes things that are supposed to stick to surfaces like nitro cells will slide down walls in an awkward fashion. There is a huge amount of kill cam inaccuracy, which leads you to not being able to learn how that other player killed you and how you can become better than that or work around that the next time you're in a firefight. Currently in ranked matches, if you're disconnected, you're penalized, and we all know that this game has server issues and connection issues, which leads to players being banned from an entire game mode because of Ubisoft's own incompetence here. And to sum up the rest of the issues in a quick and orderly fashion, your drones fall through the map. You can kill hostages to win the game on the defending team using electrocution. Cameras won't winter the entire sections of the map. Your breach charges get stuck awkwardly on windows. Lighting issues. In-game voice chat automatically turns itself back on. And general UI bugs that clutter the screen in a horrible fashion. Some of these issues, sure, you won't find until larger testing, but the hit detection, the clipping through walls, the servers... I don't understand how these major staples of what makes a first-person shooter you could actually let slip through your quality testing, your alpha, your closed beta, your open beta. And I mean, this is the other mind-boggling thing, to do your open beta 3 days before the game releases. I don't understand that at all. Like, why would you do it 3 days before your game releases? Are you that pressed for time? Why not back it up an entire month? Give yourself some longer time to get these issues sorted out, so that way you have a day one patch. With all these issues summed up, I guess the question everyone's going to want to know is, would you recommend this game or not? The answer is right now, hell no. No, not ever. Don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. Stay the fuck away like it's the plague, because it is. But in a month? Maybe in a month when they get all these issues sorted out, if they get these issues sorted out in a month's time, 2 months down the road, DLC content starts to come out, new maps for free, yes, I would recommend it then. Once these issues, and these issues are issues that have to go away, are solved, then yes, buy this game. There are minor issues and niggly little things like not being able to choose certain guns and certain operators, but I understand them from a gameplay and design perspective, although I still feel like you're limiting player choice in a game that's all about deciding how you're going to attack the enemy in a massive player choice. Still, in general, this game kicks a hell of a lot of ass compared to other FPSs that are currently out on the market, and when it works, or if you're on a console, I absolutely recommend this. And yes, there are microtransactions in the game, but they're minor and evasive at best. Mostly all of them are cosmetic, with boosters in there that don't really affect too much. I'd say these don't affect the game at all, and don't really change the overall opinion of the game. Even if it was working in perfect condition, it's still an absolute buy from me if it works, when it's patched. In 2 or 3 months when all the issues are fixed, it will probably be the best FPS on the market. It just sucks that it didn't launch that way. And it could have launched that way if they had taken some more time with it. Alright guys, if you agree with my opinion, please like the video. If you disagree with my opinion, please dislike the video and tell me why in the comments below. I obviously only see this from my perspective and my point of view, and I'd like to try to see it from other people's point of view and perspective. Please subscribe if you already haven't, it keeps me going every day, and feel free to follow me on all the social medias for you, your Facebook, your Twitter, and your twitch.tv/3gunsdown, all in the description for you. Twitch, you can watch me play games every single day. I stream on a daily basis. I'm Guns, and I'll see you guys next time on the gun range.